So, here's a wild thought. Whales, those 200-ton ocean-surfing sea beasts, can't swallow anything bigger than a grapefruit. Yep, the animal with a mouth big enough to park a minivan, throat the size of a smoothie cup. Sorry, Hollywood, no one's getting Jonah anytime soon. You might have seen videos where a kayaker gets swallowed by a whale. It's less biblical epic and more accidental drive-through order gone wrong. These gentle giants couldn't eat you if they tried. And honestly, they're not trying. Krill is cheaper and less chewy. In this video, we're diving mouth first into one of nature's most hilarious plot twists and uncovering why big mouths don't always mean big gulps. Science, humor, and one fruit-sized fact you'll never forget? Let's go. Why big mouth, big swallow? Those massive gaping mouths of humpbacks and blues could swallow a small sedan well. At least it looks that way. Their mouths open so wide you half expect a helicopter to land inside. But here's the hilarious truth. Whales possess throat holes smaller than a grapefruit. Seriously, all that jaw-dropping size just to filter soup. Humpback whales boast throats only around 15 inches in diameter. That's barely enough for a beach ball, let alone a beachgoer. Even the colossal blue whale, the largest animal to ever exist on Earth, has a throat that only rivals the size of a volleyball. Not exactly human buffet material. These giants gulp massive volumes of water, but their anatomy ensures that the only thing sliding down their throat is a krill smoothie. Those majestic gulps shove water, krill, and tiny fish through narrow tunnels designed for one thing: filtering, not swallowing you and your GoPro. So the next time someone warns you about being whale chow while you're kayaking, you can confidently laugh and say, "I'm way too big for their throat. Unless I magically transform into a plankton pancake, I'm safe." How baleen filters turn giants into soup slurpers. Whale cuisine? Not steak or sushi. You won't find a blue whale eyeing your beach picnic. These gentle giants are krill connoisseurs. Their dining experience begins with gulping thousands of liters of seawater and ends with an all-you-can-eat buffet of marine microsnacks. The secret weapon? Baleen plates. Think giant, hairy spaghetti strainers made of keratin, the same stuff in your fingernails. As the whale pushes out the water, krill and other tiny delicacies get stuck like spaghetti in a colander. And when we say they eat a lot, we mean it. One humpback might consume over 5,000 pounds of krill per day. That's like eating 1.5 million shrimp in a single sitting. Imagine a creature so big it eats more seafood daily than your entire neighborhood on a Friday night. It's less of a meal and more of a marine vacuuming session. But again, volume is the name of the game. The magnitude of their meals lies in how much water they process and how many teeny critters they catch, not in swallowing large prey. So yes, they're the soup-sipping superheroes of the sea, not the jaws of death from a horror movie. Diver swallowed by whale? More like snacking incident. Michael Packard's 2021 Whale Eats Lobster Diver tale stunned the internet. The man vanished as a humpback gulped feed, and he spent nearly a minute inside the beast's mouth. But view that as a surprise guest appearance rather than dinner. The whale's throat refused him more than an appetizer. Packard emerged shaken, bruised, and decidedly unsanctioned whale chow. That very event proved the physics. Whales don't or physically can't swallow humans. Kayaker encounter confirms the funny bone. Just this year, off Chile's coast, kayaker Adrian Simancas and his dad captured a mind-boggling video showing a humpback temporarily engulfing him. One moment he's paddling, enjoying the salty breeze. The next, boom, whale mouth. Total blackout. For a split second, Adrian went from serene nature outing to starring in his own documentary, How to Become a Snack But Not Really. The whale, probably more confused than hungry, gave him the old rinse and release. Adrian popped back up, unharmed and probably rethinking his kayaking playlist. The internet naturally lost its collective mind. Memes exploded. Headlines shouted things like, "Whale tries new human-flavored krill." But in reality, it was a textbook case of mistaken identity. The whale was lunge feeding. Adrian was in the wrong place at the wrong krill time. Once again, anatomy saved the day. No swallow, no snack. Just another glorious chapter in ocean comedy. Toothed whales like orcas and sperm whales, are the action stars of the sea. They've got bigger throats and the kind of bite force that would impress a crocodile. They hunt squid, fish, seals, basically anything that swims slower than them and fits in their mouth. But humans, not on the menu, not even as a side dish. Despite what your favorite sea monster movie might tell you, no verified incident exists of a toothed whale swallowing a human. Orcas, for all their dramatic flips and thunderous splashes at water parks, have shown zero interest in making humans part of their diet. In the wild, they're more likely to ignore you than invite you to dinner. So unless you're wearing a fish costume and swimming like a stunned sardine, you can paddle in peace. Even killer whales have standards. Myths that guffaw at biology. Ah yes, the classic tale of James Bartley, the sailor who allegedly survived inside a sperm whale in the 1890s. Sounds heroic, right? Like Jonah, but with worse room service. According to legend, Bartley was swallowed whole during a whaling expedition, only to be rescued alive days later from the whale's stomach. Cue the dramatic movie music. Unfortunately for Hollywood, science has entered the chat. Modern marine biologists and historians have pretty much shredded that tale like soggy krill in a baleen filter. There's no verified record, no physical evidence, and zero biological support for surviving in the belly of a whale. If the lack of oxygen didn't get you, the stomach acid would. Basically, it's less survival story and more seafood fairy tale. Meanwhile, real incidents like Michael Packard and Adrian Samankis actually happened and had way less drama, but a lot more laughs. These aren't monster feasts. They're feeding mishaps at worst, misunderstandings at best. And science? It's the bouncer at the myth buffet, making sure humans are no longer on the menu. Cheat sheet for crafting a whale-sized story. Writers, podcasters, content creators. Gather round. This tale is storytelling gold. First, you bait the hook that jaw-dropping fact about grapefruit-sized throats. Then reel them in with shocking visuals and real-world incidents. Drop in some humor, sprinkle in a viral moment or two, and wrap the whole thing in biology-backed brilliance. It's part Nat Geo, part comedy club. Visuals are key. Picture side-by-side comparisons of a whale mouth and throat, diagrams of baleen filters, clips of that poor kayaker living out his Moby Dick nightmare. Keep the pace quick every 30 to 45 seconds. Deliver a new hook, stat, or chuckle-worthy moment. Pacing should feel like krill density. If it's all the same, you lose the swarm. Switch it up, keep it lively, and don't be afraid to dive deep. Because when you're telling stories this wild and this weird, the ocean's the limit. Powerful emotional finish. In the end, this isn't just about biology or busted myths, it's about perspective. These colossal creatures that roam our oceans aren't man-eating monsters. They're engineers of the ecosystem, guardians of biodiversity, and oceanic vacuum cleaners with the gentlest intentions. Whales aren't villains, they're stewards of the sea. There's something humbling about knowing the largest animals to ever exist can't and won't harm us, not because they couldn't if they evolved differently, but because nature built them better. They filter, they sing, they inspire. And despite their massive presence, they play their part with grace, not aggression. That's not just amazing, it's downright poetic. So the next time you hear someone say, "What if a whale swallows you whole?" You have permission to laugh, and then teach them something beautiful. Because the truth is bigger, better, and way funnier than fiction. What this video achieved from Holy Whale's Batman to, well, that was educational. This narrative-packed explosive hooks, laugh-out-loud visuals, real-world drama, myth-busting facts, and emotional resonance in less than a human-sized throat would swallow. Now you hold a myth-shredding, fact-fueled storytelling recipe primed to captivate viewers and reinforce your brand as a definitive voice on fact-packed entertainment. Whales may look like they're auditioning for a human-eating documentary, but their throats blow the lid on that theory. Anatomy, feeding style, modern attendee stories all stand united. Humans don't belong in whale gullets. So grab that grapefruit, hold it high, and remind the world, whales can't swallow me, and maybe I just earned a whale of a laugh. And there you have it, whales. The gentle giants who couldn't swallow your flip-flop, let alone your whole body. If this whale-sized myth made you laugh, think, or yell, "No way" at your screen, do the ocean a favor and hit that like button. Subscribe for more truth-packed krill-sized knowledge bombs.